ask any detective, and they'll be the first ones to tell you that some of the more egregious, tough investigations to conduct are investigations involving children. You know, there's a child that's been victimized. We've got a unit here, our Crimes Against Children unit, and they investigate some of the more really egregious cases of felony assaults and sex assaults, and set the table to say that, you know, we've seen an alarming increase in the number of children that have been victimized by sex assaults this year compared to last year. And I can think of no better of a person to kind of discuss what that spike in statistics and victimization means to our community than the woman I'm about to introduce, Detective Jessica Hall. She's been with the unit 3.5, almost 4 years. She and her team do just tremendous work investigating these difficult cases. And I'd just like to introduce her this morning to give you guys a snapshot of what they've been up against.
Good morning. So our unit alone, Crimes Against Children, has seen a 210% increase in sex assaults reported from last year to this year. This year alone, we've had 31 so far. Last year, we had only 10. I believe that's due to the delay in reporting of the assaults that occurred last year, where the children were with their abusers or were in a situation where they were not safe to tell. That being said, kids were removed last year due to COVID-19. They were removed from student activities. They were removed from school, removed from places where they have a trusted adult that they could tell what was going on at home or to them. I believe this increase reflects the sex assaults, but it also does not encompass the majority of work that we do investigate. I believe this is actually an underreported number of assaults that are occurring, and we will see the rippling effect of that for years to come. But however, CMPD is aware, and we do recognize this increase. We're taking it very seriously, and we're working diligently with our community partners, including Pat's Place, Child Advocacy Center, and DSS. So I encourage anyone who has been a victim or knows a victim of child sex assault to reach out and report it. By saying that, you can call the DSS reporting line at 980-314-3577. Or if you want to remain anonymous, you can call Crime Stoppers at 704-334-1600. You can also call 911 to report, and promise you will act diligently on it.
Any questions for the detective? Just to put a qualifier out there, she's not going to be able to talk about any cases, specific details about any specific cases, because of the sensitivity, obviously, of the cases, and a lot of these are active investigations. So with that, any questions for the detective?
Yes, just clarification. You said there were 31 cases this year, which was up from 10 last year.
Correct.
And you believe it's underreported?
Yes. Yes.
And also, could you repeat that number, the 980 number?
Yes, absolutely. So that's the DSS Child Abuse Reporting Line. It's 980-314-3577.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. And I did want to mention, it is important to remember that these assaults, though it has increased 210%, these are not random strangers that are committing these acts. The stranger assaults are very rare and few and far between. These are oftentimes family members and friends, trusted adults that are committing these acts.
Going back to school, did that help with getting some of these cases reported?
It has, yes. So that's why I believe that the number reflects more so the delayed reporting in assaults that occurred last year. So that's why we're seeing such an increase, because now that children are coming back to school, that they have guidance counselors and trusted adults that they can tell. And those people that they are disclosing to are mandated reporters that do report to DSS or in turn the police.
What signs can people look for?
Yeah, so that's a very good question. So she's asked what signs could people look for. Being withdrawn, sudden change in demeanor or behavior. If you notice grooming patterns, if an adult or someone in the family is going above and beyond and buying gifts that just seem out of the blue, oftentimes you'll see the red flags but can dismiss it and articulate why it's going on. But just talk to your kids. There's nothing better you can do than talk to your children and ask. Teach your children about body safety. Teach them where their private parts are, where on their body it is okay for people to touch, what differentiate between what good touches and bad touches are.
Is there a certain age that you're seeing more of these cases in?
We investigate anywhere from birth to 15, so it's a wide variety of ranges. Yeah, I don't have a specific number, but between 15 and birth, we're seeing it.
What does this do to a child for the long term?
It's traumatic. It's life impacting, and so with why we encourage. A lot of the times we get delayed disclosures, but as soon as we do have that child that discloses, we plug them in with therapy and resources in the community to try and lessen that impact. But it's lifelong.
You mentioned that you work with the Pat's Place Child Advocacy Center. Is that a new partnership or something you guys have been doing for years, and what's their role? What do they do?
Certainly, I think it's a great question. She's asking about Pat's Place and what their role is in our partnership. We've worked with them as long as I've been on. The most senior detective has been on 8 years, and we've always worked with Pat's Place. The Child Advocacy Center, their role for us is as soon as we establish that we have a victim, we contact them to have the child forensically interviewed. So they sit one-on-one in a child-friendly center with an interviewer and are able to discuss what happened to them. The interview is video and audio recorded, and we do that so for core purposes to try and keep the children off of the stand, because we don't want the child to have to repeat over and over their abuse. There's the trauma that they had to endure. So it's why we go to Pat's Place and allow them to tell their truth about what happened in their experiences only one time. And CMPD and the other partners are able to observe the interview, but we are not in the room with the children.
And so does then you work with DSS to find a new place for the child to live?
No, not oftentimes. DSS will come in and establish safety plans with the families. Often just, providing a temporary safety provider. But no, the DSS's goal is not to remove the child from the home. They want to keep the family together as much as possible.
Are you worried now that we're in summer break that we could see even more cases? I know you said they're underreported, but now that kids are going back home out of the school setting, and what are you doing to try to make sure that there aren't more victims?
Yeah, it's a great, all we can do is just encourage that the children report, that if find a trusted adult, they can get a hold of a cell phone, call 911.
You said it's underreported. Why is that? Or you feel that it?
I feel that it is. Yeah, I believe it is underreported. Oftentimes because they are in the home with their abusers, and so they're not in a safe place to tell. And so if you have to go back home to that, oftentimes you're just not in a place where you're emotionally or mentally ready to handle that.
Yeah.
I apologize if you already addressed this. Did you mention how the pandemic has impacted these types of cases?
Yes. So where the children were removed from activities and just being around adults who have these hard conversations with kids.
Yeah. How do we move forward? I mean, an increase that large, it's kind of alarming.
It is. Yeah, I don't have a perfect answer for you, but I can just ensure that we are working towards coming up with creative ways of how we can address this, and working with Pat's Place and DSS and other community partners that we have as well, to kind of all put our heads together and figure out what next steps we can take, because no one expected COVID to happen, and no one expected, what has already occurred with with this pandemic. So.
Have you talked to CMS or maybe child care centers in the Charlotte area about that you're seeing this increase and, hey, being more aware of it? Or are they working with you and letting you know, hey, this has been happening, and maybe because we've been virtual learning?
Yeah, it's a great question. We have worked with CMS in the past to talk about body safety and talk about importance of, good touch and bad touches. That's a great example, great suggestion, and we'll work to probably implement that. But no, we're all coming up with ideas of how we can address that. So yeah.
Anybody else for the detective?
Yes, just one more question. You said it was, I'm sorry, I'm clarifying some of the information again. 31 this year so far?
So far, yeah, because we're only in June.
Right. And it was 10 this year, so like last year so far, or within the whole year?
That was the whole year of 2020.
What was 2019 to give us perspective of pre-pandemic timeline?
I don't have those numbers in front of me, but I'll be sure to get those to you.
So 10 for all of 2020? Is that
Correct.
correct?
Yeah, and that's only specifically for rapes. So we're only talking rape. We're not talking about the other sex assaults that we investigate, which is why I believe that the numbers not accurately portrayed here. I believe it's even higher, because we're talking about just rape alone. We're not talking about forcible fondling or indecent liberties or just the touching that happens. And our unit also investigates the physical side of abuse as well. So not only are we handling the sex assault, but also the physical abuse.
Have you guys been able to make any arrests with any of those 31 cases?
I don't have specific numbers on those, what specific cases those were, so I can't comment to that, but I could look into it.
And the allegations are typically against people in the home or?
Usually, yeah. So usually it's it's hard to say. It's case dependent, but oftentimes it's family members or it's boyfriends or girlfriends or people that you bring into the home, uncles, aunts. I mean, it's anybody and everybody.
I'm assuming there's kind of a level of trust there. Can you kind of talk about that? Like, why is it, right, usually a boyfriend, girlfriend, or, family member?
It's hard to talk specifically to that, but often, it's easy for these people, that the perpetrators, to do this because they are in a level of trust, and kids are easily manipulated, and kids do believe and do trust adults, and they should be safe with these people. And those people take advantage of child's innocence and child's trust.
Thank you, Detective. Appreciate you.
Okay, thank you.
You and your team have tremendous work to do there. We appreciate you taking a couple minutes
Thank
for
you
us
so
this
much.
morning.
Can we get a name and spell?
Sure, it's Jessica, common spelling, Hall, H-A-L-L, and she's a detective with our Crimes Against Children unit. I want to shift gears somewhat. I know a lot of you have been covering it, even from a distance. The San Jose mass shooting that occurred not too long ago. It was just the latest in what appears to have been a series of these events that have developed around the country over the last several months. What you guys may not know, or community members may not know, is that we provide just an impactful level of training when it comes to active survival. Traditionally, when events like these develop around the country, our phones start ringing off the hook, people trying to enroll in this, and we thought it was more than appropriate maybe to get Officer John Frisk into the mix this morning to talk about that service that we provide, maybe communicate some best practices and cover some of this area that everyone has been talking about for good reason, and answer any of your questions that you may have this morning. So without delay, John Frisk, Officer Frisk, he's with our Crime Prevention Unit.
Morning. Some new faces since I've been up here. How you doing, Gene? Good. Good morning. I'm Officer Jonathan Frisk, as Rob mentioned, with the Crime Prevention Unit. I say crime prevention specialist, but my boss says, well, how are you a specialist? But so the program that we offer, How Will I Survive an Active Shooting? This program, active shooter programs, we've actually been doing them with CMPD for a little bit over 5 years now. It's a program that we offer to anyone here in Mecklenburg County. It's a free program. It's a 2-hour program. I can safely say that we've probably conducted well over 300 active shooter programs throughout Mecklenburg County. This is a program that we come to the business, we go to congregations, and we conduct this presentation. We encourage anyone to sign up for this presentation, obviously because it's free, but we will let you know, and we'll tell you that when you go through this program, it's not just to empower you at work. It's not just going to let you survive if there was a workplace shooting or anything like that. This will empower you wherever you go. So maybe you're in a mall, maybe you're in a restaurant, anything at all. You're out with your family. This presentation potentially could help you save your life. God forbid you're ever faced with an active shooter. Our program today that we offer, there are 5 main takeaways that we really dig deep into with our program. The first one, it's movement and distance. We truly believe that a moving target is really hard to hit. I think a lot of us over the years, going back to 1999, when we talked about Columbine, there was a program that came out. It was called Run, Hide, Fight. One thing that we are totally against is hiding. We believe it sends the wrong message, and over the years, from some of these historic events, tragic events, we see people who are hiding, and unfortunately they lost their life. So one of the things that we teach people is movement and distance. Also, we talk about hiding alone can get you killed. Simply hiding up underneath a chair, hiding up underneath a table. We have seen, again, people have lost their lives by doing so. Controlled breathing. Naturally, if we're just standing in this room right now, somebody pulled a gun out and they started to shoot, what's going to happen to our heart rate? It's going to elevate, and we talk about the controlled breathing aspect. Can you survive until the police arrive? I think a lot of people, probably just growing up as a child till now, may believe that we dial 911 and the police arrive. Not so much. All right, we get into our stats. We talk about how long it takes for like a priority 1 call for service for officers to arrive. And lastly, what to do when the police arrive. Of course, it's going to be chaotic. People are going to be upset. People are going to be crying. People are going to be screaming. But what we as law enforcement, what we expect from the public when we actually arrive. You people can go on to cmpd.org. They can click on our community engagement tab, and from there, there's another tab that they can click on, our active survival program. That is a seamless docs form. They can simply fill that form out. It will actually come to me, and then I will actually email that person individually to go ahead and work out a time and a date of when we can actually come and conduct an active shooter presentation for that location. I will let you know, leading into COVID, once COVID hit, we canceled approximately 100 presentations. This presentation has picked up full steam, and we're glad to do it. We want to go out there. We want to train as many people as we possibly can. So I will tell you, we only have a couple instructors that conduct this presentation, so the sooner the better if you want us to come out to your location. One other thing I want to mention, if you don't work at a business, you don't belong to a congregation, we do actually offer this program, and typically we will do this at the police academy, where I will create something through Eventbrite, and just anybody can just randomly sign up. Usually we put, I think we limit it to about 200 people that can actually come to our academy and watch the presentation. We're looking to hopefully do that over the next couple months.
Questions for Officer Frisk?
So how many presentations have you done since you relaunched it?
Since we relaunched, I would just say over the last couple months, we've probably done about 20 now, right?
And is it timely too, because people are going back to the office soon? I mean, things are opening up, we have events going on this summer. I mean, maybe you haven't thought about that training because we've been in the pandemic and I don't know, people.
Yeah, that's a good point. And I will tell you that even during the pandemic, I mean, we saw this was still happening across the country. People going to grocery stores, and we saw what happened. And then just recently in San Jose. So it's very timely. And I think that's why businesses, congregations, whoever, they need to get ahead of the game. They need to get this presentation because you never know. I mean, a lot of people think, this is never going to happen to them. And then next thing you know, it's happening, as we saw what happened at UNC Charlotte. And I must mention that, there are some stations here in Charlotte that actually went through the program already. So I think that, again, everyone should go through this program.
Is it hands-on or?
It's not hands-on. No, we do a scenario, but it's something that we do. That's something we conduct. Yeah, no one's running around using any type of simulation guns or anything like that. No, it's a PowerPoint presentation.
Anyone else for Officer Frisk? All right, Johnny Boy.
All right, thank you.
Appreciate you, man. How busy you are. Great work. Hey, and really, I mean, it's the standard in law enforcement, the training that they provide, John and his team in the crime prevention unit, CMPD.org, follow the tabs under community service, enroll through that seamless doc, and he's all over. He'll get back with you immediately and get you signed up. Needless to say, things are getting busy when you have events that have developed, like the one that's developed not too long ago in San Jose. So there's that. Any questions for the greater good before we part company off to greener pastures? Yes.
Actually,
Good morning.
yes, we do have a question that I'd ask you, hopefully. We just wanted to ask about the kind of ongoing issue when it comes to extreme speeding and racing here in Charlotte. Do you have any comment about that or about how your department is kind of addressing that particular issue?
Well, I think the comment that we had several weeks back with that operation, that sweep speaks volumes and just really transcends anything I can say, this morning. A collective effort between not only us, but a variety of other law enforcement agencies in the region, the Mecklenburg County District Attorney's Office, the courts. It was an all-hands-on-deck approach to addressing a problem that was really growing into something that could potentially have been deadly. I mean, you don't have to look far to see some of these collisions as a result of this activity. And, we've heard probably the same chatter that a lot of you have heard with, what's the big deal? Why so heavy-handed? These are just children or young people that are just, spinning their wheels and having fun. I mean, you've seen the same videos I've seen. Just flat out reckless, without any kind of regard for other community members out there. I think we were on borrowed time. It was only going to be a matter of time before somebody was hurt or worse because of this activity. Community should be reassured to know that we made a full court press, a big commitment in addressing it. And yeah, there were cars that were seized as a result of it, and people were arrested and had their freedom taken away as a result of it. But when you have that kind of activity going on like that, that's the kind of response that the community expects in order to keep those roads safe for them.
Rob, what can people do in that kind of situation? Because I know it happens so fast, and you call 911. Obviously it's not an immediate. What can you tell people if they encounter this kind of thing beside them on the road?
Yeah, no, and I appreciate that. Get yourself to a safe place and call 911 immediately. Give a location. Give the description of the cars. If you're close enough proximity, maybe you get a plate number of the car and report that. Priority number one, though, is keeping themselves safe and getting themselves away from that dangerous behavior. That's what I would encourage community members to do. All right. Well, look, appreciate everyone. I know we kind of got shifted this week from Wednesday into Thursday. I appreciate everyone's flexibility. Any questions independent of all this, just hit me or my team offline, and we'll address it. All right. Welcome back.